What's up, everyone? This is Nate, and I am back with another Out of the Theater review. Now, as you can see, I'm still in work clothes. I literally went from work to the movies, drove all the way home because it was a faraway theater, and now I'm recording this video. And I have a little bit of an early review for you. I got to see an advanced screening of the movie Immaculate. This is a horror film, comes from Neon, who I like to call like Diet A24. I think it was produced and it stars Sydney Sweeney. She's literally the only person in here that I know. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts on this. This comes out next week. So here's a little sneak preview review of what you can expect. Now, before I get into it, if you would, please consider subscribing to the channel. Go ahead and hit the bell icon at the bottom. That way you get notified every time new videos drop. Let me know in the comments if you are excited for this movie or not. Okay, so as far as the positives go, number one, I think the location of this movie, it's set in Italy. And it was filmed in Italy, and they found this like pretty cool location. It's like a monastery, and the whole movie takes place in this one spot. There's a little bit that takes place on a road and like in a catacombs area, but for the most part, this is a one location movie. They're not going to 10 different places or anything like that. And it looks cool. It looks old. It looks very like worn, but also nice. Like they keep it really clean and everything like that. So really good location for a horror film. This is a religious horror film. So, she's playing a nun, which is a weird, seeing her play a nun on paper is kind of weird because she's very, gorgeous and voluptuous and not what you would think of as a nun. However, in the movie, they did a pretty good job. Like she doesn't really wear makeup. And they did a good job. I think she did a good job. I think Sydney Sweeney did a good job in this movie at first. I wasn't like totally digging the performance, but as the movie went on, I think she sold it well. It was cool to see her in a horror film, something a little different for her. So it was fun. I think she did a good job in that. I do think the premise is pretty interesting. So essentially, she plays a nun, and again, spoiler free. She plays a nun. If you can't tell by the title or the trailers, she becomes pregnant, even though she does not have sex with anyone. Thus the name Immaculate, and like the Immaculate Conception, if you don't know. So she becomes pregnant, and then it's sort of the mystery as to how this happened, why this happened. And I think on paper, that is a pretty good premise. It's interesting. Now, here's where the movie falters for me. The execution for me was not amazing. There's a few moments where it's a little cheap feeling at times. And then when it gets, and that's mostly early in the first act. And then once it settles in a little bit, my problem is I had a lot of questions and none of those questions get answered throughout this film. Like things happen and I'm following along. It's not hard to follow. It's not confusing, but there will be moments where you will say, well, what is that? Who is that? Why is that? And those things will not get answered. I promise you they will not get answered. You have to just take what this movie gives you and move along. It is only about 85 minutes or so. I think it's like 88 with credits. So it's short. And this feels like one of those movies that could have used an extra maybe 15 minutes. A good hour 40, hour 45 would have been fine. I wasn't bored or anything like that. So, because I was interested in what was going on. The problem is because it's so short, it kind of rushes through. So characters will appear and then something will happen and then they will just not be there anymore. And the motivations that some of these characters have don't really make sense because they don't spend a lot of time with them or explaining them. So I don't know. I don't love movies where they over explain everything and just like there's no surprises, but I do like it when, you have a little bit of a better idea of the characters and like what they're doing and why they're doing it. And I didn't get that here. I will say, I will give credit. There's some decent gore in this movie. I wouldn't say it's like gory, like crazy gory, but there's some gnarly gory parts. I'll just say that. And the ending, I actually think the ending had some balls. I did not think they were going to go there at the end, and they did. And I was like, okay, respect. I thought it was gonna, do something different. So I like that. So I respect the ending as well. I think the ending was pretty cool. The problem was though, my theater, people laughed. People were laughing at the very end of the movie. I don't mean like right before the credits. I mean like a little bit before that. I can't do spoilers. I will say though, the performance from Sydney Sweeney, something that was happening caused a lot of people to laugh. I didn't laugh. I thought it was pretty well done, but I don't know. I'm interested to see if other people's theaters have this same reaction. I think it's because it's like a one long shot and a long take, and maybe people just laughed to break the tension. I don't know, but I thought it was good in that regard. So this is a mixed bag for me. I think the story is there's a good kernel in there, but overall they didn't do a great job of really investing the time in some of these side characters and side plots to better explain them. So I was just kind of left wanting more. As such, I'm going to give it a 5. And I know, I mean, it's like a solid 5. Like, you could see you might like it more than me. You might hate it. I don't know. It's right in the middle for me. So I'm going to give it a 5. It was all right. Anyway, that is my review of Immaculate. It does come out next week, and I will be back next week myself with another review, and that will be for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Until then, take it easy.